Welcome back to Starz Recapped, your go-to channel for movie recaps, story breakdowns, and endings explained of the latest Hollywood and Asian cinema hits. Today, we're diving into the brand new supernatural fantasy action film K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025, a wild mix of Korean pop culture, thrilling demon-slaying battles, supernatural mystery, and stylish music-inspired action. This movie blends the energy of a K-pop idol group with the dark, cinematic world of demon hunters, giving fans a fresh spin on the classic action horror genre. If you love fantasy adventure movies, K-drama vibes, supernatural action, or K-pop idols turned warriors, then you're in the right place. Let's break down the full story of K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025, explained in detail, with every shocking twist and epic battle uncovered. In the heart of a massive stadium in South Korea, thousands of excited fans shout in anticipation, waiting for the members of the idol group Huntress to take the stage for their biggest concert yet. But what the crowd doesn't realize is that these girls aren't just global pop stars. They're also sworn protectors against terrifying creatures that lurk in the shadows. Long ago, demonic beings would cross into the human world, stealing souls to gather immense power for their dark ruler known as Gima. Just when it seemed humanity had no hope, three mystical warriors appeared. Their singing voices carried a unique power strong enough to drive away the darkness. Even more incredible, the unity their music inspired among people formed a powerful shield of protection known as Hanmoon. Every generation, a new chosen trio inherits this sacred duty. After sharing the legacy of her ancestors, Celine passes the torch to her disciples, Mira, Rumi, and Zoe, tasking them with creating the ultimate barrier to keep evil away once and for all. Now, as night falls, the stadium fills with cheering fans and completely unaware that the Huntress World Tour finale is about to turn into a battle unlike anything they've ever seen. Back at the stadium, Bobby, the manager of the idol group, grows anxious when the girls don't arrive on time. He quickly pulls out his phone to check their location. Meanwhile, on board their private jet, the three singers are relaxing and enjoying a massive meal, fueling up before what's supposed to be their final big performance. Just then, Rumi's phone lights up with a video call from Bobby. He demands to know why they're late, but before the conversation can go anywhere, a group of overexcited fans snatch Bobby's phone to talk to their idols. He grabs it back in frustration and scolds the trio for running behind schedule. The girls glance out the window and realize something's wrong. The plane has already flown past the stadium, and strangely, none of the attendants seem to notice. Rumi, irritated, assures Bobby they'll land in a few minutes before ending the call. But suspicion grows, and she confronts one of the flight attendants. Grabbing her arm, Rumi sees sinister markings covering the woman's skin. In an instant, the truth is revealed. The attendants aren't human at all, but demons in disguise. Exposed, the creatures snarl and vow to wipe out every fan waiting in the stadium below. Enraged, the idols prepare for battle. Channeling their voices to summon Hanmoon, the sacred protective energy, they unleash a fierce counterattack midair. Using everything at their disposal, from conjured magical weapons to even a thermos, they fight back with precision, defeating wave after wave of monsters. But not all of the creatures go down. Some tear chunks out of the plane and escape toward the ground. With no time to lose, the girls finish their noodles in record time, leap out of the jet, and dive headfirst toward the concert arena. They land dramatically on stage just as the demons regroup, cutting them down one by one. Zoe hurls her enchanted blade, taking out the final monster in a single strike. With the threat neutralized, the group launches into their performance. And in the middle of their show, something incredible happens. For the first time, part of the Hanmoon barrier glows gold, signaling the creation of a powerful new shield that stretches across the region, sealing off the demonic invasion once again. But deep in the underworld, one of the surviving demons reports back to her master. Though terrified of punishment, she admits the truth. The Huntress trio are far stronger than expected, and defeating them won't be easy. Deep within the underworld, Guima erupts in fury. Unleashing his demonic flames, he destroys one of his own creatures, declaring that he's done watching his minions fail over and over again. The other monsters tremble in fear, when suddenly a new figure steps forward, Gina. Strumming his eerie banjo, Gina walks toward Guima, flanked by his teammates and his ferocious demonic tiger. When asked why he's interfering, Gina smirks and explains he has a fresh plan to defeat the warrior idols. This time, he insists they have a real chance at victory. Instead of direct combat, Gina proposes something far more cunning: create a fake music group. If they can lure away the fans who power the sacred Hanmoon barrier, the shield will weaken, and the demons will finally have their chance to invade. Amused by the trickery, Guima grants him permission. But knowing Gina's selfish nature, he demands to know what Gina wants in return. With a haunted look, Gina admits his only wish: to have his painful memories erased. Back in the human world, the Huntress trio celebrate after seeing a golden spark shimmer inside Hanmoon, proof that their strength is growing. After saying goodbye to Bobby and the staff, they retreat to their building, finally eager for some rest. Zoe and Mira pile up snacks and collapse on the couch, while Rumi focuses on launching their new album, hoping it will spread more of the golden energy. Soon, she explores their massive wardrobe, where new tour outfits await. Excited, she tries one on immediately, startling her friends when they realize she's already in full stage gear. At that moment, Bobby rushes in with good news: their album has gone global, and the whole world is listening. Even though exhaustion weighs on them, the girls are thrilled and dive back into their work with renewed energy. Days later, Huntress sits down for a live interview at a city studio, announcing their next concert. In just a few minutes, they'll debut a brand new song, broadcasting it worldwide for every single fan to hear. As the others prepared for their big recording session, Rumi slipped away to her dressing room. There, she couldn't help but notice the strange demonic marks creeping further along her arms. Shaking it off, she put her outfit back on and rejoined her friends in the studio. But the moment she began to sing, her voice cracked. Confused, she asked the producers to restart, only for her voice to fail again. Bobby, growing nervous, asked if she was okay, but Rumi brushed it off and requested a short break. With thousands of fans waiting outside, her sudden silence sent the manager into a panic. Back in her dressing room, Rumi unzipped her collar and froze. The marks had spread across her body, strangling her voice. Terrified, she bolted from the studio, sprinting into the city streets. Memories of her past rushed back. It was then revealed that she wasn't entirely human. Her mother, a legendary magical warrior, had once fallen in love with a powerful demon, making Rumi their half-blood child. Celine had once comforted her, saying she wasn't like the creatures they fought, and that her marks would vanish once the golden Hanmoon fully awakened. But still, Rumi had always kept her secret hidden, even from her closest friends. Out of breath, she reached the rooftop of a tall building and tried singing again. No matter how hard she pushed, her voice collapsed. Overcome with rage and fear, she screamed, unleashing a shockwave of raw energy that only made her more afraid of losing control. Hours later, she returned to the apartment where her friends found her shaken. Admitting that her voice was failing, Rumi broke down, but Zoe comforted her, promising they'd find a solution. The next day, the trio disguised themselves and slipped into the city. Zoe led them to Dr. Han, a trusted healer, who handed Rumi a box of throat tonics, the first step in helping her recover her voice. After leaving the venue, the Huntress members suddenly cross paths with a group of young men. Their striking looks immediately catch the girls' attention, almost making them forget everything else for a moment. But as Rumi accidentally bumps into one of them and falls to the ground, the man simply walks away without even offering to help. Annoyed by his cold attitude, her friends quickly help her up, and the trio prepares to move on. That's when they hear music echoing from nearby. Curious, they follow the sound and discover the same young men singing and dancing for a growing crowd. They introduce themselves as a brand new idol group, the Saja Boys. But as Huntress watches closely, they realize something's off. Beneath the glamour and talent, these boys are actually demons in disguise. Rumi warns that they must be taken down before their fans get hurt. Determined to protect everyone, the trio plans a surprise attack. But the Saja Boys are one step ahead. Aware of Huntress's presence, they invite the girls on stage in the middle of their show. Without warning, the floor opens up, sending the Huntress members sliding down a hidden passage. Furious, but unable to expose the truth in front of their fans, the singers keep their composure. Once the performance ends, however, they immediately go after the imposters, chasing them all the way into a bathroom where the real confrontation is about to begin. The trio bursts into the space, weapons at the ready. Before they can even react, Gina opens multiple portals, unleashing a swarm of aquatic demons from the bathtubs. Huntress wastes no time, chasing after the monsters as Rumi singles out Gina, cornering him in a tense standoff. Meanwhile, Zoe and Mira fight back to back, cutting down the attacking demons with precision. But as the battle rages, they notice something alarming. Hanmoon is weakening, allowing even more creatures to slip through. In one of the saunas, Rumi faces off against Gina, striking furiously while he effortlessly dodges each blow. Then he notices the strange marks on her arm, and confusion flickers across his face. How could this be possible? Suddenly, a demon smashes through a wall, revealing Zoe and Mira surrounded by monsters. Frozen with fear that her secret might be exposed, Rumi feels panic creeping in. Just in time, Gina comes to her rescue, hugging her and quickly tying a piece of fabric over the torn part of her costume to conceal the marks. With her secret protected once again, Rumi rejoins her friends. Together, the magical warriors launch a final assault, and in a matter of seconds, every last demon in the area is vanquished. Shortly after, the trio is abruptly ejected from the bathroom by an unsuspecting old man, who returns to his routine without realizing that one of the hidden demons is quietly stealing his soul. Back at the Huntress headquarters, the girls scan the city below and notice something alarming. Hanmoon is steadily weakening. Worry washes over them as they contemplate the potential dangers ahead. Just then, Bobby rushes in with urgent news. The Saja boys are dominating every social network, spreading chaos across the digital world. Frustrated but determined, Rumi declares it's time to focus on their next hit song, determined to stop the demons once and for all. Excited, the group begins planning their counterattack. Later, Rumi steps onto her bedroom balcony and is startled by a sinister bird, which guides her gaze to Gina's demonic tiger. The creature delivers a letter, and as Rumi reads it, she realizes it's an invitation from the leader of the Saja boys for a meeting that night. The tiger vanishes in a blink, leaving her with a mix of hesitation and resolve. Despite her doubts, Rumi decides to accept the invitation. Upon arrival, she attempts a surprise attack on Gina, only to discover it was a cleverly placed mannequin. Seeing the rival leader, she lunges again, but he raises his hands and speaks calmly. He explains that he didn't come to fight and reveals a shocking truth. Gima is the one behind everything that has happened in his life. Gina confides that his soul was once trapped by the demon lord. Feeling a strange connection with him, he asks Rumi to explain how she got her mysterious marks. She refuses and attempts to attack him, but he vanishes through teleportation, leaving her frustrated and confused. Meanwhile, the Huntress trio continues composing their new song, all while hunting demons that slip through the weakening edges of Hanmoon. Rumi struggles in secret as the demonic tiger stalks her, trying to keep it hidden from her friends in her room. A few days later, the girls prepare for a fan autograph session, only to be surprised by the Saja boys. To keep the fans from being divided, Rumi suggests they all sit together. The singers sign autographs for everyone, sparking wild fan theories, some claiming there might be romantic connections forming between the two groups. Later, while Rumi works on lyrics in her room, Mira catches her off guard. With great effort, she manages to hide the tiger again, but it's becoming harder to keep the creature under control. Realizing she can't manage it forever, Rumi decides to confront Gina directly, ignoring further distractions. Meanwhile, the demons continue their sinister work, stealing souls across the city. People begin vanishing day by day, and fear spreads throughout the region. During her meeting with Gina, Rumi learns a vital truth. There is a way to free him from Guima's control, and once the Golden Hanmoon reaches its full power, the Demon Lord will no longer be able to influence the human world. Rumi approaches Gina with a plan. She wants him to help the Huntress group regain their fame. Once the trio strengthens their bond with their fans, they can generate a barrier powerful enough to banish Guima for good. She adds that if he cooperates, he can remain in the human world after the Golden Hanmoon is formed, finally free from the Demon Lord's control. At first, Gina hesitates. Just then, a bracelet vendor arrives and offers Rumi one of her creations. Using the bracelet as a symbol, Rumi urges Gina to trust her, explaining that the only way to achieve true freedom is by defeating the Dark Leader together. A few days later, the trio rehearses on stage for their upcoming concert. Rumi voices her dissatisfaction with the lyrics so far, leaving Zoe and Mira confused by her unusual behavior. Suddenly, a shockwave ripples through the venue. Suspecting a monster attack, the singers abandon rehearsal, leaving Bobby behind. On top of a subway train, they are confronted by hundreds of demons rushing toward the passengers below. The Huntress trio springs into action, singing their new song to weaken the creatures while striking them down with precision. In the chaos, Rumi is caught off guard by a powerful boss demon, who knocks her away. Her friends immediately rush to defend her, Together, they perform a powerful double combo, and Mira plants her weapon in the ground, eliminating dozens of monsters in a single strike. But despite their effort, it's too late. All the passengers have been captured by the demonic forces. As the subway reaches the next station, Mira and Zoe, frustrated and worried about Rumi's absence, are forced to leave, their hearts heavy, but their resolve unbroken. Hours later, Rumi meets Gina once more. During their conversation, she admits something surprising. Ever since she started talking to him, her voice feels completely restored. Inspired, the pair begin to sing together, and by the end of the song, Gina realizes he can no longer hear Guima's voice in his head. This breakthrough convinces the young demon to finally help Rumi. He promises to ensure his group loses their fame at their next performance, giving the Huntress trio a real chance to regain their fans. Thrilled, Rumi prepares to head home. But before she can leave, Gina is suddenly pulled back into the Infernal Lord's domain, where he is confronted with haunting memories of his past, including abandoning his family when they needed him most. Panicked, he pleads with Guima, who agrees to erase the memories, but only if Gina follows his orders. The next day, the Huntress group reconciles and selects a brand new song for their upcoming concert. By dusk, the stadium is packed with hundreds of thousands of eager fans, and the presenter kicks off the big show. As the girls make their way to their dressing room, they spot Gina and his group heading to the stage. Rumi notices he looks far more serious than before. The presenter announces the start of the Saja Boys' performance, but suddenly all the lights go out, leaving the crowd in complete darkness. Bobby rushes in, warning the girls that their rivals are mid-battle on stage and that this is the perfect chance to win back their fans. Filled with hope, the trio rushes onto the stage, launching into an incredible performance that electrifies the audience. During the song, Zoe and Mira slip off stage, giving Rumi the spotlight for her solo. But before they can return, they see Bobby being led away by security. Acting instantly, the girls run to protect him, only to discover it was a clever trick. The security are actually 3 demonic beings using their powers to deceive the singers. Suddenly, the power in the venue goes out, plunging everything into darkness. Almost immediately, a new song begins to play, and Rumi realizes it's the very set of lyrics they had discarded just the day before. Then, she's shocked to see 2 demons disguised as her friends. They corner her on stage, pushing her and trying to destabilize her. In the chaos, the creatures tear off Rumi's golden costume, exposing the marks on her body for everyone to see. Overwhelmed with panic, she screams, and in the process, all the spotlights in the arena are destroyed. Fleeing the stage, Rumi tries to reach her real friends, but they instinctively back away, drawing their weapons to protect themselves. Panicked and feeling utterly alone, she runs into Gina, desperate for answers. He coldly reveals the truth. Everything he had said up to this point was a lie. He tells Rumi to accept him as he really is, insisting there's nothing she can do to change it. With that, he vanishes, leaving her guilt-ridden and broken. Wherever she steps, an evil crack seems to form, a reflection of her despair. Meanwhile, Zoe and Mira realize the worst. Hanmoon is on the verge of collapsing completely. Bobby watches in silence, witnessing the rapid disappearance of the Huntress group's audience and feeling the weight of the situation. Soon, the Saja Boys appear on every screen around the venue. Gina announces that they are paying tribute to the Huntress K-pop group that was destroyed in the past disaster. He reveals that his group will perform at the Great Seoul Tower and invites everyone to attend the show. Before Bobby, Zoe, and Mira can react, strange voices invade their minds, forcing them to lose control. Like countless others, they begin moving toward the performance against their will. Meanwhile, Gina and his group await the start of the Great Demon Banquet. As the show begins, they take the stage in their true forms, singing their new song while their powers make them float above the stage. During the performance, Guima grows larger and more menacing, and the audience falls under a hypnotic spell, walking blindly toward the infernal rifts. Just when it seems all hope is lost, Rumi arrives, breaking through the spell with the power of her voice. Guima arrogantly declares that nothing more can stop him, but Rumi refuses to back down. She continues to sing, her voice strong and unwavering, and one by one, Zoe and Mira break free from the hypnosis, ready to join the fight once again. Back together at last, the Huntress trio begins to sing in perfect harmony. Furious, the Infernal Lord summons thousands of monsters to stop them. But the magical warriors refuse to be intimidated. With their weapons and powerful voices, they destroy each creature with ease, and Hanmoon begins to radiate once again. Overjoyed to be reunited, the girls embrace, and their costumes transform into a dazzling new version. Without hesitation, they rush toward the stage, but Guima, absorbing the strength of all nearby demons, unleashes a torrent of flames directly at Rumi. At the same time, the Saja boys charge at Zoe and Mira, but Rumi is saved just in time by Gina, who apologizes for everything he caused in her life. Desperate, Rumi pleads with him not to leave, wishing for freedom for everyone. Gina assures her that it has already been achieved, offering his soul to her. Empowered, Rumi gains immense strength. Fueled by rage and determination, Rumi delivers a devastating strike to Guima, splitting him in half. Meanwhile, Zoe and Mira take down each member of the Saja boys. The trio unites, soaring toward the Infernal Lord, channeling all the power they've received from their fans. Finally, with a burst of unstoppable energy, the magical warriors defeat Guima once and for all. Hanmoon is fully restored across the world, and the Huntress group is met with thunderous applause from their fans. Overjoyed and relieved, the girls celebrate, knowing they have conquered the greatest threat of all time. And that wraps up the full story of K-Pop Demon Hunters 2025, an action-packed fantasy thriller filled with epic battles, supernatural powers, and unforgettable music. If you enjoyed this Huntress Group Explained video, don't forget to hit the like button, share this breakdown with your friends, and subscribe to Starz Recapped for more movie recaps, endings explained, and story breakdowns of the latest K-pop fantasy movies, supernatural action films, and trending 2025 Hollywood releases. Stay tuned for more exciting K-pop Demon Hunters explanations, Huntress Group story summaries, and behind-the-scenes insights into your favorite fantasy action adventures.